What's up, A to Z Sports Live on this Tuesday. Today, we've been waiting for the NFL trade deadline day is upon us, and it's been a very interesting conversation. I mean, Easton, we've been talking about the Titans and NFL trade deadline for 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, 3+ weeks.
Too long.
As this team struggled out of the gates. I feel like the win against the Dolphins in week 4 on September 30th bought us an extra week during the bye week for the Titans to not talk about the trade deadline. But ever since then, we've talked about the NFL trade deadline and what the Titans should do. They've already made 2 moves. One of them had 2 touchdown catches last night to help the Chiefs go 8-0 and to help Patrick Mahomes do something that he's never done before in his career, which is wild, as DeAndre Hopkins owed to the Titans. Remember the Titans here on this NFL trade deadline day. So we're going to discuss all of these things. We're going to play a game. We've got 4 Titans players that could be traded today by the 3 p.m. Central deadline. Will they be traded? That's the trade meter question that we're going to have. We'll give you guys 3 options. I'll explain the rules of the game here in a little bit. There's also been a move this morning that could change the likeliness of these Titans to be moved. So, Easton, we're going to go through all that. And then we're going to do a little shade at the end of the show. Keep your shade on its best behavior today, maybe, because there's a lot of other things that are happening.
Is there something to be upset about today? Is there anything that could cause
I'm going to be
discontent?
so pissed tonight watching my TV after the college football playoff rankings come out, because there's no way in hell they're going to get that right. So we're going to find out all the things. So it'll be let's keep it simple. Let's keep ourselves in our lane today.
I saw a tweet yesterday that it was like businesses in metropolitan areas across the country boarding up and preparing for the worst as the most contentious NFL trade deadline in history is upon us. Yeah, that's what we're dealing with today.
It really is. Well, Easton, tell the people what they got to do here before we officially get this show off and rolling on a big Tuesday in the sports world.
All you got to do is like the show, folks. It's so easy. It's just the little button below our faces there. It's usually a thumb. You hit that thumb for us. It is the easiest way for you to be a friend of the show this morning, because it's very helpful for us to get as many live eyeballs in here and on the product today as possible. Thumbs ups are how that happened. So like the show for us on Facebook, on YouTube. If you're with us on Twitch, we appreciate you being here. Join us in the comments, all of you. Andre and Katie, Robbie, Steven, Vanessa, and more have already joined us. Appreciate hearing from all of you guys this morning. Good morning to you all. Make sure you have liked the show. It is your ticket. It's like when you visit a museum and it's like, you don't have to pay to come in here, but there is a donation box. Our donation box is that thumbs up button. So be a good person, hit the like button for us, and let's get the show rolling.
I like that. Yes. You don't have to just donate a like. It's not even like you could just give a super chat if you want to.
That's right. Just be a good person and hit the like button. It's not hard.
Absolutely. All right, let's get going officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports here on a Tuesday. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Easton Freeze, one of our Titans reporters for A to Z Sports.com, and we are Nashville's on-demand sports network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Link to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline at A to Z Sports. Also, follow us across all of our social media channels on TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and everywhere else that there is a social media outlet. We've got it for A to Z Sports, talking Titans and more. You got to thank our sponsors, because they make it happen for us, and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see them in Lebanon or online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with your health coverage, and do that by getting a quote and a health assessment with our link, fbhp.com/ATOZ. And with TDOT. Be part of keeping our state beautiful by visiting their campaign to end littering, NobodyTrashesTennessee.com. It is NFL trade deadline, and there are some potential moves that the Titans could make. Are they going to make them? We'll discuss it. But let's go through the official rules of NFL trade deadline day, and then we'll get to our game that we're going to play here for Titans players that could be moved. And the NFL trade deadline is 3 p.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. A to Z Sports is a Central Time Zone company, and I think more people should live by Central Time Zone. That should be the standard that God's the country goes by, because Eastern time zone sucks. I spent my weekend in Eastern time zone, and then I traveled back. I gained an hour because daylight savings ended, and then I gained another hour by traveling. Eastern time zone sucks. Central time zone is way better. That is not my shade. I've got great shade about my weekend at the end of the show today as well. So there has been a move that has been made this morning that I think impacts the Tennessee Titans pretty strongly on this NFL trade deadline day. And Easton, our guy Mike Payton, who covers the Lions for A to Z Sports, is a very happy fella this morning because finally the Detroit Lions get their edge rusher. The Browns trade standout edge Zadarius Smith to the Lions, who had a key presence to help up make for the loss of Aiden Hutchinson. The Lions get Zadarius Smith and a 2026 7th for the Browns getting a 2025 5th and a 2026 6th, a major move there via Ian Rappaport on the right. But yesterday, another linebacker edge rusher, Baron Browning, goes to the Cardinals from the Broncos, a 6th rounder from Ian Rappaport. That was on Monday. So Easton, kind of give us, I think more people know who Zadarius Smith is, the former Pro Bowler, than they do Baron Browning, but kind of lay the land for us here on these two moves, edge rushers being moved on Monday for Browning and this morning for Zadarius Smith. So Easton, kind of lay that out there for us on what you think this means for NFL trade deadline and maybe for the Titans.
Right. There were 3 teams that were really publicly pushing for some edge help here at the deadline. That's not to say that no other teams are interested, but the Diana Rossinis of the world, for example, were pushing the narrative that the Lions, the Cardinals, and the Falcons were all sniffing around for some edge help. And 2 of those 3 teams have gotten their guy in the last 24-ish hours. Baron Browning is kind of an Arden Key type for a lot of folks are like, who's Baron Browning? He's a rotational guy. There's a reason why the compensation for him was relatively minimal. He will be a marginal help to a Cardinals team that really could use somebody like him, but he's certainly not a every down starter. And then Zadarius Smith, obviously, in the twilight of his career, has, I think, 65 career sacks. So a really good player who is at twilighting, I suppose. He's got 5 sacks this year, and kind of like Arden Key has had a strong past couple games, maybe auditioning to get out of Cleveland.
Yeah.
But the compensation there, I'd say, is about the best case scenario for what maybe, and we'll get into this, what an Arden Key style trade would look like. That's the kind of compensation we're looking at. I know a lot of folks don't have a great frame of reference on that. I put out a poll yesterday, Austin, about what you'd want in return if the Titans moved Arden Key.
Ooh,
and like
let's come back to that poll when we have our game that we're going to play about Arden Key.
Fair enough. But I guess what I mean to say without spoiling it is that a lot of replies saying that my options that I gave in the poll were not nearly good enough trade value. And I think people just don't quite understand that teams aren't throwing around a day 1 and day 2 picks for rotational pass rushers here at the deadline. It's not quite how that works. But it means that the Titans' options, it seems, for where they could send either of their movable edges are dwindling here near the deadline.
For sure. And so I want to lay this out there too, because we do have the Titans draft picks is the reason why the Titans are sellers, right? It's the Titans need to get rid of potentially expiring assets, expiring contracts, or tradable assets to gain more assets to build for the future. And so the Titans' current draft picks for 2025 are a 1st, a 2nd, and a 4th. No 3rd rounder that's in Kansas City because of L'Jarius Sneed. Another 4th from Seattle for the Ernest Jones trade. A 5th round pick from their own. A 5th round pick from Kansas City for DeAndre Hopkins. Shout out Herman Boone last night. Also a 6th round pick and a 7th round pick that is from Green Bay from the Malik Willis trade. Is that correct? The Green Bay Malik Willis trade?
It is, yes. The Titans don't have their 7th because that's what they sent for Nick Folk, but they got the 7th back from Green Bay this year.
Right. So they could use some more trade value and trade assets. The Titans want to have as many picks as possible. They don't have a 3rd, but maybe if you can package a couple together to move up on day 2 for a player you like in the top 100, they could maybe do that. Have the ammunition to have flexibility across the draft board, because we're not talking about the NFL draft today. We're talking about the trade deadline today, but that does involve the NFL draft a good bit. And so, yes, DeAndre Hopkins is, making everybody just be like, man, really a 5th-round pick conditional? And so you did have on that graphic, Easton, a conditional 4th. It could be. And so if this Kansas City Chiefs make the Super Bowl and DeAndre Hopkins plays 60% of the snaps, that 5th-round pick becomes a 4th-round pick. Mm-hmm. Now, it's off to a good start, right? DeAndre Hopkins has 2 touchdown catches and allows Patrick. Here's the craziest thing. Patrick Mahomes, before last night, had never thrown a touchdown pass in the 4th quarter of a tied game in his entire NFL career until he hit D-Hop for a touchdown last night to take a 24-17 lead.
Wow.
That is bonkers. Did you know that?
That is hard to believe. No, I did not know this.
Yeah. Had never thrown a touchdown pass in the 4th quarter of a tied game until he hits DeAndre Hopkins in that game. So pretty wild overall. So that is the update there. So we have a game to play, Easton.
Okay.
We've got 4 players. We're going to get to at least 3 of them. If we have time, we'll get to the 4th. 4 Titans players that we think collectively, including Sam, that could be moved at today's or before today's trade deadline of 3 p.m. Central. We've got 3 options for these players. We're going to do a Titans trade meter. We've got the fact that they could be guaranteed to be traded. They could be likely to be traded or unlikely to be traded. Let's begin with the one we were just talking about, Titans edge rusher Arden Key, who has, 4 sacks in his last 3 games?
4 sacks and 2 forced fumbles in his last 3 games.
Yeah, playing some of his best football. Former 3rd-round pick out of LSU, Arden Key. Is Arden Key guaranteed to be traded, likely to be traded, or unlikely to be traded? That is the question we have for you guys. So throw this in the chat. I will also put up a poll question. We're going to react to. We got 4 players. Arden Key is going to lead us off. Is he guaranteed, likely, or unlikely to be traded today by 3 p.m. Central? But first, let me tell you guys about Farm Bureau Health Plans. That's where you should turn if you're looking for a new health coverage plan for maybe you or your family. Farm Bureau Health Plans have been serving the entire state of Tennessee for 78 years, and they can do everything for you, like help you save money on your health coverage, but not sacrifice for a worse plan. No, it's actually a better plan in most instances. Don't have to pay out of pocket for dental. Don't have to pay out of pocket for vision or your contacts if that's what you need. You can also get all the different opportunities that they have, HSA, all the different things for individual plans. If you're part of a company plan, they've got those as well. So Farm Bureau Health Plans, get a quote today by starting your health assessment by visiting our link, fbhp.com/ATOZ. So Easton, going back to it, Arden Key, is he guaranteed to be traded, likely to be traded, or unlikely to be traded? I'll leave the graphic up there for a moment. What is the chat saying about the Titans edge rusher, Arden Key, who has 4 sacks in the last 3 games, 2 forced fumbles, and a lot of hurries and hits as well towards the quarterback over the last month or so? What's the chat saying right here?
Bearded Kunu says that he is the most likely of the group, according to his opinion. Philip says, never mind. Dad says likely. Chris says unlikely. Curtis thinks that it's likely, as does John and Jesse and Ashley and Vol for life and the Crooks. Unlikely, according to Burning Devil. Guaranteed. There's a guaranteed, according to Michael. So mostly likelies, a couple of unlikelies, at least one guaranteed on here. But it seems that folks are optimistic Arden Key will no longer be a Titan after this afternoon's deadline.
All right. So I would like you to take me through, Easton, your kind of how you define the 3 words on the graphic: guaranteed, likely, or unlikely. Kind of take us through, like, strip Arden Key away from it for a second.
Okay.
And kind of take us through, like, what you feel like could represent guaranteed, likely, and unlikely.
Yeah, I'd say somebody that is guaranteed to be traded would be somebody that we have been talking about as not long for this team for a while now. I'm trying to think of an example, but like
DeAndre Hopkins.
Well, sure, right.
Was guaranteed to be traded.
For sure. But even more than that, like if there was a disgruntled player or somebody that the team had been actively shopping, which you sometimes see teams do, 2 weeks ago, the Titans are like, so-and-so is on the trade block and it gets out via, whoever, Ian Rappaport. For me, there's a high bar for guaranteed because I think that what is underestimated on trade deadline day is that you got to have two to tango. And as badly as a team may want to get rid of a player, you have to have a partner to do so, willing to give you fair compensation, which is just a tricky dance. And so I think that, spoiler, I don't think there's going to be many guarantees on today's show, at least from my side of the table here. Likely is just somebody that I think the team is wanting to move, if only they can find a partner. And unlikely is somebody that obviously either the team may want to move, but they're not worth anything, or the team has no interest in moving, which we can talk about.
Yeah. So for my answer, and I did put up the poll on YouTube. Again, if you want, I wish the Facebook audience had the same ability to answer poll questions like the YouTube does, because I love the ability to get percentage data on this. So guaranteed, likely, or unlikely for Arden Key to be traded before the 3 p.m. Central deadline. So that's out there. I do not think it's a guarantee. I think the Titans sent a message when they traded DeAndre Hopkins and Ernest Jones on the same day a few Wednesdays ago, that both of those guys had expiring contracts. And that is the most likely player profile across like all sports, NBA, Major League Baseball, NFL, hockey, whatever the hell, is a expiring contract for a team that's selling to a team that's buying, that doesn't want to have to commit to long-term money or future anything. And they're trying to go for it all. And they want to acquire a right winger to play on their second line that can score some goals in the middle of February to go for a cup, right? Like it's that, like DeAndre Hopkins was that. Ernest Jones was that. There's also the ability for Ernest Jones to earn a long-term deal, in Seattle as well. We all understand that aspect. But that, the Chiefs are very cash strapped. They could not afford DeAndre Hopkins in free agency 2 summers ago. So they get him and give up a 5th round pick, maybe a 4th round pick moving forward. So that is what I find as a guarantee. And Arden Key does not have an expiring contract. He's got 1 year left on his deal. His base salary goes from like 1.5 this year to like 6.7 or 6.5 million next year. Yep. None of that 6.5 is guaranteed though. So I think that tells me that I believe Arden Key falls under the likely vote to be traded today, because he also plays at a position of value. And I think that's also a part of this. So I think Arden Key is likely to be traded today, not guaranteed, but likely, because he's a player who has flash. He's a player who can impact the game because of the position that he plays, and it's not that expensive. And because his next year salary is not guaranteed, the team trading for Arden Key can simply cut him as if he was an expiring contract. So that is what I think likely. Now we can talk about compensation here in a second, but Easton, what is your answer on Arden Key?
I think Arden Key is unlikely to be traded today.
Unlikely.
I do think that he's unlikely. I would have had a different answer for you yesterday. It is not.
What about 2 hours ago? What about 2 hours ago? Would you
even then, I probably would have had a different answer for you. It has very little to do with. I do think the Titans would like to move him for the right number. I do think that he is somebody that they have been shopping behind the scenes, but I do not think that there's a place for him. I do not think there's a suitor anymore, unless the Falcons, who on paper have needed edge help for, I don't know, my entire life, decide to suddenly pony up for additional edge help, which they did for the first time in a million years before the season, trading for Matt Judon, right? And they go and they do it again because they think they're contenders this year for, whatever that situation may be. Then maybe. And maybe there's a team that we haven't heard about that is secretly really looking for edge help. A team like, just off the top of my head, like the 49ers could add a little bit of help there. They could return to the prodigal son. The
Jeffrey
Commanders are in
brings
business,
up the Commanders.
according to Jeffrey. Yep, totally. So there are teams out there that theoretically could go after Key, but I think the compensation is a big part of it. I don't think there's any team desperate for an Arden Key in their life that's willing to give up for the Titans what they'd like. And to bring up the results of that poll I ran yesterday, Austin, got 601 votes on it yesterday. 4 options. 3 of them are variations of yes, they should trade him. And 1 was no, I don't want to see the Titans trade Arden Key. Ultimately, 76% of people said they would like to see Arden Key moved. Only 24% said no, do not move him, keep him. I'm assuming the no crowd would like to pick up his contract next year as well and keep him around
going,
probably.
right?
Just keep it going, right? As for those who said yes, 25% of the voters, a quarter of them said trade him for literally anything. Don't care. Any return, I will take anything. 5% said yes, as long as it's a sixth rounder or better. And the plurality of the votes here, 46% said yes, but only if it's a fifth round pick or better. And so that's where I think folks may just have a little bit of a misunderstanding of the value involved here. I think the fifth is absolutely the ceiling for Arden Key at this point, personally. And I just don't know if any team's going to want to do that. I think, again, similar to the Zadarius Smith situation, that was Smith in a seventh for a fifth and a sixth over the next 2 seasons. That I think is the best you would do for an Arden Key. And personally, I don't see it because as much as you want to point out Zadarius Smith twilighting in his career on the downtrend, there's the sticker value there, right? It's the name value of Zadarius Smith. That plays
There's also something too about Zadarius Smith is this is the third NFC North team that Zadarius Smith will play for, only not wearing a Bears uniform. So
there's still time. Don't worry, he can get there.
There is still time.
He's like Danico Autry trying to complete the gauntlet of it in division.
Danico just has the Jags. Does Danico play? Does he still like? I know
I saw him. I heard his name on my television screen for the first time.
I completely forgot about Danico.
Because he hadn't been playing for most of the season.
Yeah, I mean he was suspended for that. But yeah, so I brought up the graphic because all right, Easton, quickly rank these 3 edge rushers from best to worst. The 2 guys on the screen that have been traded the last 25 hours, Browning and Zadarius Smith, and then Arden Key. Who is the best second and third edge rushers of those 3 players?
Zadarius Smith, Arden Key, Baron Browning.
So Baron Browning is the worst. Arden Key is between them.
Yeah, and they're all kind of the same brand of player at this point. Zadarius Smith and Arden Key at right this second. Maybe Arden Key the past 3 games has been playing slightly better than Zadarius Smith, but Zadarius Smith is top 10 in every counting metric last week, as was Arden Key. They're both playing good ball right now. And again, Zadarius Smith has 65 career sacks. Arden Key has, spoiler, a lot less than that. So I will lean Zadarius Smith, assuming they're both healthy.
Yeah, and they both seem healthy. And so if Browning goes for 6th to the Cardinals 6th, who are leading the NFC West, to the Broncos, I don't know what the Cardinals draft pick is going to be, but if you're talking about the Falcons or Commanders that are maybe the most likely buyers for the Titans for Arden Key, I think the Falcons pick is fairly comparable to the pick of the Cardinals, right? Because they're both like right around 500, leading their division because it's their division at this point. And the Commanders are somebody who is like, that pick could be the Commanders are the Texans from a year ago. That pick could be 27, 28 in the round. So okay. So you say it's unlikely to be traded. So we're going back to our original question. I'll update our YouTube poll in a second. So we're playing the game. We got 3 other Titans players, but Arden Key, guaranteed, likely, or unlikely to be traded. You say unlikely. I said likely. We did not vote for guaranteed. I'm going to go to the YouTube poll. We've got 7% guaranteed, 51% likely, 42% flipping back and forth is unlikely. So likely is still leading. Do you want the Titans to trade Arden Key? Because you said your poll said yes, but Easton, do you? Should the Titans trade Arden Key, like just as a premise?
Yes, they should. They should. They shouldn't trade him for literally anything. I would be unhappy to see him go for a 7th round pick. I would feel sanguine about him going for a 6th round pick. I would only really truly
6th round pick. Is it not?
I would feel fine. Like it would be like cool, whatever, you know. The only thing that would truly excite me is if he went for a 5th, which I don't think is likely at all. Because I don't think he's likely to be moved, period. But yes, just on paper, this is a team that should be moving players like Arden Key. And that's going to be a theme of all the guys we talk about today, at least in my opinion. They should be, a win over the Patriots is good. And I think this team is capable of winning a handful more games this year and trending in the right direction to end the season, for sure. That does not prohibit them from making moves right now. It's not even about getting value from expiring contracts. It's about considering, like is often the case, the long-term vision for this team and deciding who is and who is not a part of our plan going forward. Arden Key may, best case, be a part of their vision going forward for one more season. And that's not a crazy expensive price tag for him in 2025, but for the average Arden Key performance, it's not a bargain either. So, I'm fine with moving him. I think that they should. I think where this team currently is, they should be moving players like Arden Key.
I said this in the post-game show. Don't trade him. I would like Arden Key to stick around.
But why?
Because I think $6.5 million base salary and a $9 million cap hit for an edge rusher that looks like he is catching stride, I think it is a bargain. That is a great deal. For 2025 salary cap, like the salary cap's going to keep on going.
Listen, man, you think Arden Key, like, I'd love to be wrong, but you think Arden Key's going to be putting up 4 sacks every 3 games for the remainder of his Titans?
That would be crazy. No, TJ Watt didn't do that.
Okay.
But I still think TJ Watt might do that.
I'm about to say TJ Watt regularly does do that.
4 sacks over 3 games for an entire season is a crazy pace that not anybody really is going to be able to sustain. But still,
that's 20 sacks a season. You're not getting 20 sacks a season. Yeah.
No, but can you get 10? Can you get 8?
So I'm refreshing my memory here as you continue, but I'm going to pull up some numbers.
I don't think, Bama Brad says, he's fooling you, Austin. Arden Key's fooling me? I don't care. $9 million, a $9 million cap hit for a secondary edge rusher is who can get after the quarterback, who can affect the quarterback, who's also a great locker room guy to have. I'd keep him. I think he is that $9 million in 2025 on a cap hit for Arden Key is literally nothing. So I say keep Arden Key. Don't trade him away for a 6th round pick or a 7th round pick or a 2026 pick. Keep him. You can trade him next year if you want to. I think he's so affordable for that position that you're going to get veteran production out of. He's not hurting you, so keep him. That's what I think.
So, for reference, in the past 4 games of Arden Key's Titans career, he has 4 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, something like 6 or 7 quarterback hits. In the other 21 games that he has played with the Titans, and I didn't go back and look last year which games, maybe he didn't play all 17 games. According to this, he was at least a part of all 17 games. Of the other 21 games he's played, he has 6 sacks and 12 quarterback hits. So, I'm leaning on you're going to likely get more of that Arden Key over the duration of his term as a Titan. If you keep him into next year, then you're going to get the red hot pre-trade deadline. Please get me out of here, Arden Key.
But you and I have not just been man, Arden Key's playing really well the last 3 games. You and I have been on, man, Arden Key's playing pretty well. Arden Key's playing, he's continuing to get better. Since week 3, it was the Packers game, the Dolphins game, the Colts game, and then you go Buffalo, Detroit. So that's 6 games Arden Key has been playing at a different level. I want to continue to see that. And for the cheap price that he is, I would say don't trade Arden Key. But I do think he is. I'm not going to hate on the Titans if they do. But if I were the Titans and I was trying to build around whoever the hell the quarterback's going to be next year, having an edge rusher for $9 million on the cap is nothing. So I think I would rather keep Arden Key. Let's keep it moving here, though. We've got 3 other Titans players to get to. So we're going through Harold Landry. Let's just go to the 2 edge guys off the top. We'll go through his contract situation. But Harold Landry is in somewhat of a similar contract spot for a team to trade for Harold Landry, because Harold Landry has 0 guaranteed dollars on his contract after this season. He has base salaries of $17.5 million in each of the next 2 seasons, but either the Titans or a team trading for Harold Landry can cut him after this year and not have a penalty outside of what the Titans already have in dead cap for his signing bonus. A team that would trade for Harold Landry does not acquire the signing bonus dead cap. So you can literally pay Harold Landry about $1 million a game to come in, or you can have the Titans pay him to come in as a rental and then cut him as if it never happened. Or you can continue to have Harold Landry for the next 2 years at $17.5 million if you wanted. So Harold Landry, guaranteed, likely, or unlikely to be traded. We'll get to your comments. I'll put up a fresh poll as well. But the Bone and Joint Institute is where you should turn for all of the injury needs that you have in your life. Injuries, just like in football, are a relatively close guarantee. Like you can say, yeah, you're going to get hurt in life. Unfortunately, that sucks, but things happen, and you have to know the people you can turn to, the resources, the doctors, and everything that the Bone and Joint Institute has today. They've got you covered. They're great. I've worked with them for 4 years on the show. I've worked with them for the last 3 years for the couple injuries I've had. And they are great people, and they truly look out for you. And they've got all the experts and the resources under one roof in Franklin, right off of I-65, next to Williamson Medical Center. So boneandjointtn.org is the website, boneandjointtn.org. Easton, I'll throw it back up here. Harold Landry, guaranteed, likely, or unlikely to be traded. What's the chat saying on this one?
The chat, as I was, looking something up for my argument here in a minute, the chat is saying no chance he is going to, Lee says. Very unlikely, according to Lee. Unlikely to Paige, unlikely to Chris, unlikely to Frank, unlikely to Demetrius. I'm trying to find anything but unlikely, and there aren't any. Everyone agrees. Unlikely.
Everyone agrees.
Unlikely. I mean, I can't find a single likely. So,
really?
Matt the Optimist says likely. Other than Matt, no. No one thinks he's going to move.
All
Just
right.
kidding. Orlando also. There's two of you. There are dozens of us. Orlando and Matt.
Of us.
It's a reference to not Parks and Rec.
Okay, I didn't know if that was going to be if that was
Arrested Development
foreshadowing to
no. Sorry, there's dozens of you all. It's just the quote from Arrested Development.
You people. What do you mean, you people?
The people that I just mentioned, Orlando and Matt.
Reference from Tropic Thunder.
Which, now we're mixing metaphors. It's getting messy.
So, Easton, your answer is
absolutely not. No, he's not. They're not moving him. It's the sorry to be boring. It's the exact same discussion that we just had with Arden Key, except he's a more valuable player, which means he's harder to move because you have to have a team more desperate for an edge player and willing to give up a day 2 or better pick. It's a third rounder. That's the price tag for Harold Landry. You're not getting it. His contract is less movable. Not immovable, but less movable than Arden Key's. It's just not going to happen. And maybe I would be more optimistic if a team that is truly super mega contenders like the Lions still needed a guy. But again, we talked about that, how the Lions didn't have a third round pick. So that kind of prohibited them from being in the conversation there. I don't know what else to tell you.
If the Lions had a third round pick, do you think he would be a Detroit Lion by now?
Still no. Because I think the Lions are a really smart front office. I think that they're a patient group. There were other guys that are better available edge players than Zadarius Smith out there, but the Lions decided we're going to move some 5th and 6th rounders around. We're going to swap around some late day 3 capital, which is valuable, but certainly not nearly on the same plane as a day 2 or 1 pick. Because they know that while they are all in this year, they're not going to forfeit their flexibility going forward because they want to be a team that is not like the Detroit Lions most of us know and love for a long time. They want to never return to where they went. And that requires being good in the draft and having flexibility in the draft for the foreseeable future. So I still think no.
So Randy says the contract plus the recent lack of production equals no trade.
That's part of it.
To me, the contract, I think the contract, if I'm the Lions, let's just reverse back to Aiden Hutchinson's leg snaps in half.
Sure.
I think Harold Landry is the perfect option for the Detroit Lions. I think the schedule also played a factor in this. If the Lions and Titans did not have a game against each other 2 weeks after Aiden Hutchinson's leg broke, I think it would be more likely that Harold Landry could have been an option for the Lions.
Sure.
But they had to wait 2 games. The Titans were not going to trade Harold to the Lions and then play him in 10 days. And so if the schedule was different, then I think that plays into it. And recent lack of production, from Randy's point, you've got one guy who's kind of hot in Arden Key, other guy who's cooled off a little bit in Landry. Troy says Landry can't cover. That hurts his value. Anybody who is having Harold Landry out there is not getting in for his coverage skills. And he's getting a bunch of money for the Titans, not because he can cover, even though he's actually not that bad, like considering who he is. And
who are the elite edge rushers that are great in coverage?
Yeah, nobody, because that's not what they.
It's not their job.
Yeah, it's literally not their job.
Austin and I are not impeccable culinary masters in the kitchen because it's not what we get paid to do.
Hey, don't speak for anybody else.
You are what? You make some mean toast. What do you make?
Toast, dude. Give me a freaking break, man. I've got a cookbook in my.
Well, I own a cookbook too. It doesn't make us master chefs.
No, my cookbook full of original recipes from.
Okay, well, sorry, you're not a master chef. You can't make a living as a chef because it's not what you get paid to do.
I could if I applied myself. I could.
Chat, listen to this guy.
I could if I applied myself.
Well, yeah, if I went to culinary school for a year too, I could. That's not the point here.
No. But Harold Landry, if Harold Landry applies himself, he's not going to be good at coverage. Like, that's just not the position, right?
Fine.
So again, like I can cook.
All right.
I'll say that much. Thank you, Brad, for believing in me. So anyway, I also think it's unlikely for Harold Landry. I'll go to the YouTube poll on this one. It is very much a runaway. 84% unlikely that Harold Landry gets moved. 13% likely, and just 3%. I think it's a guarantee. So I think I
don't know what those 3% of people are doing. Don't know what they're thinking.
Man, because remember 3 weeks ago, I was like, prepare yourself to say goodbye to Harold Landry because
you were certain he was out of here, man.
Because 3 weeks ago I felt it. 3 weeks ago, I was like, this guy is sneakily attractive for a trade partner because they don't like, you could have Harold Landry for nothing and to cut him because if the Lions or a team is trying to go for it truly, then Harold Landry is a great trade because you don't have to do anything about him. You can cut him and move on after the 9 games he plays for you. So Andre says Landry's contract stops it. No, it doesn't. It's like a great opportunity because what if in this Lions or Commanders trade for Harold Landry and he helps them go to the NFC Championship game and he has 8 sacks over the stretch and a couple sacks in the playoffs. Is it worth keeping Harold Landry around in 2025 for $17.5 million? Yeah. And then you can cut him and save $17.5 million in 2026 if you don't want to do that.
Right.
Or you can just flat out cut him altogether. So, but he's not going to be moved. And so I think, look, good thing for the Titans, right?
I guess I'm struggling to contribute to this conversation because I don't want to be a party pooper. I wish that we had a more interesting trade deadline discussion at the edge position, which it felt like we did 24 hours ago. But right now, I am just so certain neither is moved. And I would love to be proven wrong. I would, because I think that they should try to move both guys. I just don't think that there's a partner for them. So I don't know what else to tell you.
No, that's fair enough. Fair enough. All right, we've got 2 more Titans players to discuss that could potentially be moved at the deadline with our game guaranteed, likely or unlikely. We've talked about a couple defensive players. We're going to go away from the defense here with these next 2 guys. But real quick, I want to tell you guys all about what TDOT is doing across our state. Are you ready to be rewarded for helping keep Tennessee clean? Join Nobody Trashes Tennessee's Trash Masters Rewards program by signing up. You can earn points for every action you take, from taking a litter quiz to participating in community cleanups. And those points you can redeem for fantastic prizes like discounts, tickets to local events, or exclusive Nobody Trashes Tennessee swag. It's Nobody Trashes Tennessee's way of saying thank you for keeping our state beautiful. Visit NobodyTrashesTennessee.com and become a trash master today. If I were a parent and I had kids that were like elementary school or middle school, I would have them do this because that sounds like a really fun activity for them to collect points to go do stuff. Then you get to use the points that they earn for tickets to local events for yourself. That's exactly what I would do if I were a parent of a.
Always turn a profit on your children.
I mean, look, that's kind of part of it, right?
What else is there? What other reasons are there to have children?
That's what I would do. That's what I
pimp them out for trash points.
I don't have a child from ages 7 through 12. I do want to get to something because
sure. Let's get to something.
I have a development because Zach Garinger comes in here and says D-Hop trashes Tennessee.
I was wondering if you were going to bring this up. I saw this.
No. DeAndre Hopkins does not trash Tennessee.
I'm surprised people took it that way. I don't.
Yeah, because Big Ten Jeff goes on his YouTube burner account to give us $2 to try to mock the Titans. D-Hop hit the Remember the Titans celly, thinking that it's mocking the Titans, but not so fast, my friend, as the great Lee Corso says. DeAndre Hopkins tweets 10 minutes ago, it was a shout out to Tennessee. If you know me, you know it's nothing but love for Nashville. Ray and his crew are like family. Without them, I wouldn't be here. That's the way I took it.
Obviously, this was a great litmus test for who doesn't understand the DeAndre Hopkins situation. Or sorry for those of you that are wrong, but like if you thought that was him dissing the Titans, you've not been paying attention.
Yes, it was obvious, as Curtis said.
Wake up.
Remember the Titans. Remember how I'm here, because the Titans did me a solid. Rand Carthon and crew did me a solid and sent me to a team where I could contend and go do something in my career. So I think, DeAndre Hopkins has been he was a great Titan, and he's been a great Nashville community guy. He would not just go turn around and take a dump on all of you on national TV after all the things that he's done for the city in like 18 months.
He still lives here.
Yeah, he's not selling that house at all anytime soon. So,
by the way, what are the Cowboys doing? We're just getting trades rolling in here. The Cowboys just traded a 4th round pick for Jonathan Mingo and a 7th round pick, which cool, I guess. Mingo's, a guy that's still developing, but like,
the
Cowboys buyers.
The Cowboys have done more at the trade deadline than they did all of free agency.
We're all in, according to Jerry, who, by the way, Jerry this morning said that Dak's probably going on IR. So, like, are they buyers? I don't understand. Well-run organization, everybody. Well-run.
The Cowboys make no sense. Okay, so we've gotten through the DeAndre Hopkins thing because I thought it was ridiculous for people that took that and D-Hop mocking the Titans. All right, King VC also had a super chat. Lock in, like the show. Yes, please, if you haven't yet, please like the show. That's all it is. We're asking
you
guys.
Lock the show or like the show?
Like the show. I read lock in and like at the same time.
Lock the show too. That's fine.
You can. No, don't lock it. Share it.
Lock in on.
Share the show.
That's right. Don't gatekeep the show.
So, all right. These other 2 players that we have to talk through. Let's go offense first. Titans wide receiver Tyler Boyd. Guaranteed, likely, or unlikely to be traded at the trade deadline. Again, 3 p.m. Central Time. Tyler Boyd. Thoughts. His contract is basically $0.
That's right.
It's 1 year for like veteran minimum, 1.3 up to 4 if he has bonuses. The Titans have paid. They will probably say, hey, we'll pay the rest of his bonuses if he hits them with you, if you give us something for Tyler Boyd.
He's
a free player.
He's the sample at Costco. The Titans they've set up a little stand and they've said, we're handing out free Tyler Boyds. Would anybody like one?
Tyler Boyd is the sample at Costco.
He is.
I love that. I'm going to tweet that. So be ready for the blowback.
Okay.
So guaranteed, likely or unlikely. What do you think?
Man, I don't know. My answer was going to be unlikely, but then I just saw the Cowboys traded for Jonathan Mingo. So I don't know. Maybe the teams out there are interested in receivers more than I think. I'm still going to say unlikely. But not so like it's different. I really need grades of unlikely. Like with Harold Landry, I think there's no chance, and that's an unlikely. With Tyler Boyd, I think it's unlikely, but I do think there's a chance. I do. I think the Titans have the requisite depth needed to survive at receiver. Like they've got quality players at tight end. They got quality players at running back. You've got NWI who can basically carry the entire wide receiver room on his shoulders. Don't even worry about it. So, and obviously Calvin Ridley still exists. So I look at his stats, Austin, and I know a big part of this is being in Tennessee, right? He would have better stats if he had been playing for the Chiefs all year, for example, but he's not a player that has lit the world on fire. Not that anybody expected him to, because there's a reason he was available at the 11th hour of free agency last summer, and the Titans just kind of went and plucked him for free. I just don't, if they moved him, it would be for a 7th round pick. You are not getting anything better than a 7th round pick. So I guess if that's worth it to you, Rand and Chad Brinker and company, go for it. But I don't think they would think, ooh, yeah, we got to get our hands on another 7th round pick and it's worth giving up Tyler Boyd. I don't think so.
Would you rather have Tyler Boyd for the next 8 games, because he's probably not going to be re-signed next year?
Right.
If I were Tyler Boyd, I wouldn't.
No.
Right. So, or would you rather have another 7th round pick where you can find somebody along the lines of Jalen Harrell and James Williams?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I get it. I would lean 7th round pick, but
yeah,
it's
because you know what you also need?
It sounds like a lot of paperwork for not much in return. It's like, if I was the GM, I'd be like, I don't want to file this with the league. It's a lot of paper. I gotta go tell a guy to pack up his bags. This is a lot of hustle and bustle for a 7th round pick. I don't know, man.
But because all right, here's why I think the Titans should trade Tyler Boyd. Because you get something, right? Like we just went through that. I would rather have a 7th round pick and do somebody who is going to do something for this team for the next 1, 2, 3 years, right? You also open up opportunities in the back half of the season to learn more about a 6th round pick that you just drafted, Jaquan Jackson, as a receiver. So I think it allows you. Bryce Oliver gets to get some more actual wide receiver reps.
Jaquan Jackson.
It gives you opportunities to learn about them while acquiring future 7th rounder, whatever.
And that's valuable.
It is valuable. Is it likely?
Just say no, Austin.
It's not. It's unlikely.
Thank you.
They should do it though.
But we agree that
I think it's
you are getting a 7th round pick for nothing. You're not getting anything better than that, right? Wait.
And so Patrica says, I don't think Jackson is all that good. You don't think, but do you know? And that's the point.
He's also a rookie. Like, a lot of rookies look bad at first, and then they figure it out. You gotta find out.
Ira Hoshi, 7th rounder is not valuable. It is.
By the way, I want to throw up it is valuable to a team that can draft well in the late rounds of the draft.
And Rand Carthon's whole thing. Right? Remember Elijah Mitchell? Saw that guy. I was like, hell yeah, 5th round pick Elijah Mitchell. Like, all the stories about Rand Carthon are day 3 picks.
And it's not bluster either. Like, he genuinely has picked good players in the late rounds. I think it's
Jalen Harrell.
If I had to rank Rand Carthon GM strengths and weaknesses, late round picks would be at the top of my list. It'd be communication, late round picks. I think those are clearly his top 2 strengths.
Brock freaking Purdy, Jawan Jennings. There's just 2 other 7th round picks the Niners selected when Rand Carthon was in the draft room. Like, and
we're at one point there was a long list of these that we're forgetting, but there are many and they're not necessarily all stars either. Like, it's like meat and potato guys that are like just quality starters that maybe the whole league doesn't know about, but you as the NWIs of the world, where it's like, yeah, it's nice to have that guy on your team. But Malachi brings up, and I'm going to continue to push this home till the cows come home, because it's one of my least favorite things in the world. The idea that 7th rounders are ammo to move up in the 4th or the 5th. Technically, I guess, but like, again, you people don't understand the value of draft picks. So like the value, if you're just looking at the Jimmy Johnson NFL trade chart, and there's different versions of this, but this is a commonly used one, right? The value numerically of the first pick in the 7th round is 3 points. The value of the first pick in the 4th round, for example, is 96 points. In the 5th round, it's 38. In the 6th round, it's 21. So like, mathematically, if you want to move up from a 7th round, if you want to turn 7th round picks into even a 6th round pick, you have to package like 3 7th round picks to get a 6th round pick. You cannot package 2 or 3 7ths and move up.
Well, you know what you could
work
do
that way. It doesn't work that way.
For sure. You're right. But like, sometimes on the Saturday of the draft, let's just say the Titans have 2 7th round picks. Maybe internally they're good. They're done. Right. Mm-hmm. Then they could have a team that says, hey, we want to come back in because we're done for the day. We want to come back in because we like these guys. All right, we'll give us a 6th rounder next year. Can you swap a 7th rounder now for a 6th rounder next? Then yeah, I think you can.
And so it is valuable in that way. But the idea that
it's a pawn. It's a
stockpile of 7th round picks, and then they can turn 4 of them into a 4th round pick.
It's a pawn.
It doesn't happen. It doesn't work that way.
But I think Tyler Boyd's worth a pawn. Tyler Boyd is just one pawn for another pawn. He's the free.
So you and I, so far, it sounds like we are on board with trading every player we've mentioned, but
I don't want them to trade Arden Key.
Okay. So I am on board. So in review, I think that they should trade all 3 players mentioned. I do not think they are going to trade all three players mentioned. Austin thinks that they should trade everybody but Arden Key and does not think anybody is likely to move except for Arden Key.
Yes.
Okay.
I would be okay with trading Harold Landry because you're going to get a way better pick.
Theoretically, yes. Would you be, by the way, if they did move Landry today and it was for a fourth, would you be like, ooh, gross?
To who?
I don't care.
Who's fourth?
The average fourth.
Is it conditional third?
Nope. Just a flat fourth.
Just like the
middle of the road, fourth round pick. The 123rd pick in the NFL draft.
What pick was Allen-Ra St. Brown?
It's just trying to pick
Pretty
the
close
hit.
to that.
Trying
Pretty
to play
close.
the hits here. Trying to play
Pretty
the
close.
hits.
Yeah, absolutely. Does it fit my narrative? Nah, I mean, it would be weird, but I wouldn't. I mean, then you would have 3 fourth-round picks. I don't dislike that.
I think you're lying, personally.
I don't dislike the idea of having.
I can see in my mind's eye the transaction come across my phone, followed by an Austin Stanley tweet and a group message in all caps.
I don't.
This front office sucks. What were they thinking? Unbelievable bad value.
I think that they did not get enough from the Chiefs for DeAndre Hopkins. I've been very vocal about that.
Disagree.
Yeah.
Anyways,
so
do we have a fourth player here?
We do have a fourth player. Okay. This is different. Nick Folk.
Granddaddy strong legs.
The kicker. Nick Folk. Guaranteed likely or unlikely. Guaranteed likely or unlikely for kicker Nick Folk. The best thing about this Titans special teams.
If the Titans had just kept Braden Narvison, they could move Nick Folk and they'd be fine at kicker for the next 10 years.
Expiring contract.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly soon expiring career.
Possibly, brother. He's 107.
He's 39, right?
Okay, sure. If you want to be technical about it.
No, I mean, but kickers, he can keep rolling. I mean, I don't think he's like retiring tomorrow. Oh, hey.
No.
Happy birthday, Nick Folk.
Oh.
40. Like now.
The big 4-0.
Big 40 today. Happy birthday, Nick Folk. Do you trade Nick Folk on his 40th birthday to a team that is better than the Tennessee Titans?
I'm trying to think of who needs a kicker, and there are good teams that are good, like the Packers. They need a kicker. Who else that's good? Like the Giants need a kicker. The Jets need a kicker, but neither of those teams is particularly great.
Who's the first team you said?
Packers. The Narvison experiment obviously failed, so they've been on kicker watch for a while now.
You're sending a 40-year-old kicker to Green Bay.
Listen, I haven't answered yet whether I think it's likely or unlikely.
All right, what's the chat say?
The chat's giving people that you could send him to. Dallas. No, they don't need a kicker. They have the best kicker in the league.
Yeah, but he's on jury duty.
But he can still play on Sundays. Don't worry about it. The chat is saying likely, according to Justin. Anybody else answer here? I'm not seeing any other answers. Everybody else just kind of trade him, according to Josh. They're just kind of chatting about it. Unlikely, according to Patrick. So yeah, those are all the answers. People have quit playing the game. Here's my answer. Unlikely. I'm going 4 for 4 on unlikelies. Spoiler, I don't think that they move anybody today. I would be super pleased to be wrong, but I think the Titans are done. Not entirely because they want to be done, but just because I don't see a lot of trade partners out there. So yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that this is not going to happen. And he's another guy like Tyler Boyd and Nick Folk are two guys who, if you move them, it's for a 7th round pick. That is the ceiling of what you're getting. So,
but again, you gave up a 7th rounder for Nick Folk. So
I'm not saying it'd be bad business. I'm just saying that's what you would get for sure. You'd have to go and find another kicker for the rest of the year, but that's not impossible.
So, who cares?
Sure. NWI getting traded.
You're gonna have to find another kicker next year.
What would the NWI trade make you feel like, Austin? Let's say they send NWI away for a 6th round pick. You'd be unhappy?
Sad.
No matter the compensation?
Sad.
What if it was a 5th?
Sad.
4th? Come on.
Sad, but happy it happened.
So happy. Got it. Yeah,
No, I think NWI needs to be a part of this team moving forward. Like
I
like
agree.
this guy is like I tweeted in the moment after he caught the touchdown Sunday, give him the extension now, but like half joking, but unless you're gonna do it, like come on, let's go. Like NWI is the only reliable thing outside of Tony Pollard in this offense right now. Tell me I'm wrong.
Technically, you are wrong. Because I was about to say there's some
reliable
reliably
thing.
bad things on
Positive,
this offense.
reliably.
Yes, you're
Positive.
right.
I
There you
saw
go.
you were going to do that.
Yeah, you know me too well. I'm gonna get you on the technicality. But yes, you're right. They are the only consistently positive things for this offense.
So happy 40th birthday, Nick Folk. I think it's unlikely that he gets moved, but I think it should happen. So to recap, I think they should absolutely move Tyler Boyd and Nick Folk at all costs. Whatever. Just do it. Costco samples. Absolutely. Arden Key and Harold Landry have a lot of conditions to my opinion on the move. It is I need to see the compensation before I judge it for both of the edge rushers.
But what's your prediction? Because I've already said I don't think anybody.
Yeah.
I'm pretty certain right this minute that they're not trading anybody. But I would be very pleased to be proven wrong.
I would be. I mean, if they don't trade anybody, I'm not gonna throw a fit because they've already done two.
Right. Me neither.
I do think it's I do think it's the market. I do think it's more of like the market's not great right now. It doesn't feel like it. There's no like look.
Where are the landing spots?
Right. The positive about the trade deadline being moved backwards in the season is the fact that you get multiple weeks to do trades. It's not about like trade deadline day. Oh my God, I'm gonna make trades. No, you get like 3 weeks to do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the benefit from moving it into November. So my prediction is they don't make any more moves. I think they would like to, like you're saying. I think we're kind of aligned on all that. Super chat. Jeffrey says trade Boyd, move NWI up and pay him. I think we would all be good with that, right?
Sure. Yes. Blank check for NWI. Make it happen.
Yeah. All right. Any other trade things, or do you want to go ahead and get to some shade?
Let's do shade. I have no more things.
We will throw some shade. If you have shade in the chat, again, let's stay in our lane.
No.
Today.
I'm about to ruin the A to Z brand with one shade. Let's do it.
Don't you even tease that. All right, time for some shade. Shout out Wilson County Hyundai, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see our buddy Payne Bone in Lebanon. Save money on that new ride by going to Lebanon, not downtown Nashville for a new car, at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. So if you have shade to read or for us to read, you can throw it in the chat and we will read it. So shade is where to go. Jeffrey, shade taking Titans too long to realize NWI is worth, I guess, to realize NWI's worth.
I get that. People are very mad that it's taken so long for NWI to be on the field. It's the same situation with Levis, where they like Burks is a guy. It was kind of a sunk cost thing where it's like, we got to find out what we have in Burks. He's got the talent and it didn't work. But one could argue that they should have already known that. But this new coaching staff, every coaching staff in the world has an I can fix him mentality. So that's just the way that it works.
I texted this to you guys, to you and Sam during the game. I'll say it publicly. Guys like NWI having success in the NFL make me even more mad about guys like Treylon Burks. And it's just the waste of potential drives me insane. Brandon, throwing shade at the folks who said Ohio State wouldn't beat Texas in basketball yesterday. Were people saying that? I'm like, I don't like who the guy, the one like who's.
You can't pay me to pay attention to any basketball in November. Sorry.
Yeah, I did. Look, I did make a bet late night because I won Baker Mayfield over 15.5 rushing yards last night during Monday Night Football. So I had some extra money to
You're welcome, by the way.
Yeah. Although all 8 of my prop bets that I was considering all hit. So Yeah. So I could have done more, but I did put a little bit of money live line on Washington State -8.5 to beat Portland State when Washington State was down by 4 in the first half to Portland State. Like, oh yeah, they're going to come back and win this game. Wow. The hook got
Sure,
me.
man.
The hook got me. Washington State won by 8. So I lost. Let's see. Shade on the show ending. I could do 3 hours this. Maybe you could, but I can't. I got stuff to do.
No, I could not do 3
Hello
hours.
Ladies says shade on those tabs on bottles that never tear off. What?
What bottles are we talking about?
What tabs? Who's tearing tabs off bottles? What are you talking about? Tabs on bottles that never tear off.
Don't know.
Scott, shade of the Chiefs, just tired of them.
Sure. They cannot keep getting away with this.
This is a good shade. I don't know if we've ever had this shade.
Ooh,
shade on restaurants for either not fixing the feet on the table or replacing wobbly tables. Nobody wants spilled drinks because of the table rocking.
A+ shade. 100%.
Easton, what is your if you were sitting at a restaurant and your table is wobbly, what do you do?
Typically go for the napkins, get some fold action, just stuff that right up under the foot that's loose. Now, if the whole table is shaky, if it's
split/leg issue, then it's fixable, right?
That's what it usually is. It's one leg that's a little short.
Coasters are usually a good move too.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's something that's like at the base of like the table top,
if the structural integrity of the table is bad, I'm gonna call that out right away.
Yo, we need to do something.
New table, please. Thank you. Yeah.
Let's see. Shade. Zach throwing shade at the stupid amount of heavy traffic there was trying to get to work today. Yep. Let's see. Anybody else got some shade? Shade on the national media thing, and D-Hop was disrespectful for his Remember the Titans TV celebration last night. National media hates the Titans. They're loving the fact the Titans suck. Yep.
Well, a lot of fans of the Titans thought that was shade as well.
All right. My shade, Easton, and then we'll wrap up with your shade, I guess. My shade is had a great experience. So everything ended awesome. So last weekend,
doesn't sound like shade.
No, believe me, it was about 96 hours of nervousness for me. So last weekend, my wife and I went to Cincinnati. We saw the U.S. Gymnastics Gold Over America Tour with Simone Biles and a lot of other Olympic gymnasts. It was a fantastic show. My wife grew up doing competitive gymnastics as a kid through some of her schooling. And so a great opportunity for us to go watch the greatest of all time, Simone Biles, in person. It was badass. It was awesome. By the way, men's gymnastics, super underrated. Those guys are action figures that can do some crazy stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So hopefully they get more pub by the next Olympic round. My shade is Wednesday night. We come in from a dog walk, I'm cooking dinner, check my email, Ticketmaster email. Your tickets have been successfully transferred. And I'm like, hold on a second.
To
do
whom?
What? And my tickets got stolen. Wednesday night.
Like a couple days before you go? That's crazy.
Stolen. And it gave me an email and the names of who my 2 tickets that were second row by the floor in the arena in Cincinnati. Airbnb booked. We're leaving Friday.
How does that even happen?
I don't know. But my tickets were transferred successfully and accepted by these 2 people.
So what'd you do?
I cussed out loud.
Okay.
Then I immediately tried to call Ticketmaster. It's 8:00 at night. Sorry, they're not answering. So then I just fire off so many mad emails to ticket support. And here we are. And they're responding. Like Joanne at Ticketmaster did a great job. But it's Saturday. We're in Cincinnati. Show's at 8. It is 2 p.m. I still don't have this resolved.
So what have they said when they respond? Like, we're going to
look into this. Hey, we're looking into it. We are working on it. Like, the result will be either you get your tickets recovered or you get tickets of the same value to replace. And so that was like Friday at noon. And I'm sitting here being like, oh God. And it's Saturday at 2. We're like 5-6 hours away from the event starting. And finally we get back from lunch. I opened my Ticketmaster app. The tickets were recovered. And so,
that's That's stressy. That's stressy.
Very stressful. So my shade is on somebody stealing my tickets, and then somehow I got them back. So I don't even know how that happened. I still don't know what happened.
I have never heard of something like that where somebody just transfers tickets to themselves that they did not buy.
Yes. It was.
And did you get any story on it, or were they just like, you're good to go? No further questions.
Oh, no. They sent me an email at like 6 p.m. Hey, your tickets have been recovered. Oh, thank you. We're already on the way to the arena. like I was so close to like, do I need to buy the get in ticket just to get in the door? And then am I going to march down to the second row and go to our seats and find some people and like punch their faces in front of all these little girls here to watch gymnastics? Like that, this was going through my mind.
Yeah.
Right. Of like, I need
Do you think they would have shown up? You think they would have? I mean, I guess if you're stealing them, you got to show up, right? Although I'd imagine the idea is steal them to sell them. That's bold to steal them and then show up. That's crazy.
There was no resale option through Ticketmaster for this event.
Oh,
which I thought was wild. So Jeff, got to secure your account better. Oh yeah, thanks, Jeff. Like yeah, everybody.
What does that even mean? Secure your account. Let me go build a wall around my Ticketmaster account.
I immediately changed my password. Yes, but like. What do you like? Yeah, Jeff, secure your account better. That might get hacked in a year and a half. I don't know.
Well, I got to be a computer programmer to use my Ticketmaster account. Come on, man.
2-step authentication. Okay, we got it, bro. Like Jeff is the king of securing his accounts. I've had a Ticketmaster account for so long. We're giving away Tennessee, Mississippi State tickets this week from the Bone and Joint Institute. I got those through my Ticketmaster, so everything's been fine with my Ticketmaster for a long ass time, and oh man, it was brutal. But everything ended up. I was nervous for about 90 hours. So that is my
ladies
shit.
Ask, ever heard of people writing themselves fraudulent checks and cashing them, Easton? Yes, I have. I have seen Catch Me If You Can. I'm aware of how that works. But that's different. Great movie. Great musical, by the way. That seems a lot less logistically difficult than digitally stealing tickets from somebody's Ticketmaster account. You could, I mean, literally Catch Me If You Can. People were getting away with that before computers existed. You can commit check fraud.
Oh yeah.
Analog. You don't need a computer for that.
All right, Easton, what is your shade?
My shade is election related. And you had a lot of questions when I told you that pre-show, because we naturally here at A to Z have been, there's been strong messaging about nobody get themselves in trouble, because it's easy to get yourself in trouble, especially on social media around the election. And we are a sports company. And I personally love the fact that we are one of the, unfortunately, dwindling number of sports companies that is intentionally not about anything that's not sports. Because I think sports are awesome and an escape for us to not be so divisive, or at least seriously divisive. I'd much rather pretend to hate somebody because they're a Chiefs fan than actually hate them for their political beliefs. That's a lot more fun. However, my shade today is on the way that we handle election day. So you can breathe a sigh of relief. This is not going to ruin the company, but I think somebody already said this earlier. The fact that election day has become basically just like a ceremonial thing where we all watch the news at night and then we get to 1 a.m. and then we still don't know. And then tomorrow we still don't know. And then the next day we still don't know. The fact that we can't, as the most powerful, technologically advanced country in the world, count the damn votes on election day, and just like we can't have that figured out by tonight is crazy to me. So shade on the way that we handle elections. France, Argentina, these other countries are able to count all of their ballots and have an announcement before the old folks go to bed. So the fact the fact that we need a month to verify the election is crazy.
So basically, it's a technology thing, right? Like
it's more than that, because it's not just that we haven't tried. It's that both parties intentionally, the way that it's set up with all the different ways you can vote, in person, early, mail-in, absentee, all of these things. There's some political machinations there for sure that we don't have to get into, but it's set up. And I understand that it's also not a national election, right? Like each state handles their own counting, and then you go up the ladder. So it's slightly different, but this is America, baby. Just count the votes. This shouldn't be hard. We should be able to count the votes. We should be able to open all the letters with the mail-in ballots and count them up, get the manpower, figure it out. Because not only is it annoying to have to wait, but, increasingly with our elections, more and more skepticism these days as to the security of said elections. And when you take a month to verify the results, and when it looks like one thing on election night, and then tomorrow a different thing, and then it invites skepticism, whether fair or not. You are just inviting unrest. I don't like it. So I wish that we had a quicker, more secure election. It shouldn't be hard, but apparently it is.
Okay.
That being said,
All right.
go vote today if you haven't. Go. I mean, you probably should have already, because I think the lines are going to be a nightmare, but still go vote.
Yeah. Godspeed. Like on the lines. All right, guys, that is it for us. It is trade deadline day, so it's 9:22 Central. Trade deadline is 3 p.m. Central. We'll see if the Titans make any moves. There's also a college football playoff rankings show tonight, so I'm guaranteed to be mad at that one if no Titans are guaranteed to be traded today. So make sure you hit that like button on the way out. Buck Rising live tonight to recap trade deadline day. Sam Phelan also has the NFL Titans trade deadline tracker is out there on A2ZSports.com/Titans. So if you want to track the trade deadline with all the different news surrounding the Titans, Sam's got you covered there all day long. So A2ZSports.com/Titans for all that. Buck will see you tonight to recap it all. We'll see you guys in the morning. Appreciate it as always. Talk to you later.